Catch past episodes of Create, Build, and Manage Daily on demand. Go to bizvod.com for details.
Nickie Lawrence wants to help you by handling all of your administrative tasks, freeing up your time to focus on building your brand with less stress. Nickie is the founder and COO of CSE Virtuals and joins me via Zoom tonight. Nickie, welcome to the show.
Thank you kindly, Scott. Thank you for having me.
We appreciate your time. I want to kind of start with what is key to success in your line of work?
Definitely being organized. It is imperative to know exactly what it is your day-to-day looks like, and also being able to hone into what your clients' needs are so that you're able to effectively help them to scale and to be successful.
Now, you are different in that you provide more than just administrative support. Talk about all the services that you offer your clients.
Right. So in addition to administrative support, I also provide some business development coaching and assistance. Earlier on in my practice, I noticed that there were quite a few of my clients who, because they're the visionaries of their business, they're not exactly honed in or tuned into all the steps that's needed to make them more successful and efficient. So I noticed that they had gaps in their processes, and sometimes they didn't have processes at all. So that organically came about. I provided guidance on how to really take their business from where it was to where they really wanted it to be. And sometimes it was just a few tweaks. Sometimes it was creating an entire process around what it is that they were doing.
I'm sure.
And that has been really successful for us.
That's great. That's good to hear. And I'm sure the needs of your clients continue to evolve, right? I mean, the workforce is changing, things change. So how do you keep up with the demand?
Making sure that I'm not the only one on staff. One of the things I do teach my clients is to delegate. Know what it is your strengths are. And the things that you love to do, do those things. The things that are causing you pain, delegate those out. So I do those in my own practice. The work that is coming in, it's an influx, and there are ebbs and flows. And what I do is I have people on my staff that enjoy different portions. I have folks who enjoy social media. So when the work comes in, that is the division that handles those functions. So making sure that my own practices and business modules are effective and tightly wound is important for me as it is for my clients. So I practice what I preach is basically what I'm saying.
Well, Nickie, what's brilliant about that, and everyone who's watching needs to take that down, write it down, because it's sound advice on, delegating the things that you're not good at or you don't enjoy. Because too often entrepreneurs feel like they have to do everything, and that's the cog in the wheel, and that's the reason why your company may not be growing. So that's good advice. I want to put your website up there for those who are watching us tonight on BizTV. It is csevirtuals.com. And if you are listening to the podcast, that's csevirtuals.com. And this is where you can find Nickie and find the great work she's doing for her clients. And I also understand, Nickie, that you are working with some nonprofits. What's that like?
It's very interesting. And my background has predominantly been corporate. For 25 years, I worked in various administrative functions, office management, business development management. So it's always been in the corporate environment. So working for nonprofits, it's quite interesting because I love the work that they do. And being a supporter of my local public stations, it's really brought me even closer to the behind the scenes processes. And that's been a joy, actually. And I really do enjoy working with my nonprofit clients.
What are some of the misconceptions that you find people have on working with a virtual assistant? And I know your company does far more than just handling administration tasks, but what are some obstacles you find that people have in their mind when they think, I don't know, I don't want to work with a virtual assistant, I'd rather keep it in-house? What do you find are those things that people are, maybe they misunderstand how virtual assistants work?
a lot of what I hear is, how is your time structured? I feel that folks are still thinking that because we are virtual, that we're not getting the work done. So how I combat that is working as an in-house executive assistant per se. That does not necessarily mean that the work is getting done. You're also paying for overhead benefits. You're paying for break time. So what I do for my clients who do wish to have that is I provide them with a breakdown of the hours that I produce and give them, there's some transparency there. So they are able to see, okay, well, Nicole, she quoted the 20-hour package. So this is how much time has been worked on. And here is the proof of the time. Also, a lot of what I'm hearing too is the misbelief that there's some level of professionalism that's not there, that is more available with an in-office assistant, and that is not the case. We are highly professional, highly skilled, and it's just a matter of finding the right assistant that works for you and your needs, and making sure that you're doing your due diligence too. That is key. Making sure that when you're asking the right questions of the assistant before hire, making sure that you're checking the references, having those conversations ahead of hiring is quite important.
And as some of that negative things or some of those thoughts that you just described, has that changed since the pandemic? Because, I mean, there was a period we were all working at home, right?
Absolutely. And this is what I bring out, because I find that my clientele has evolved. When I first started, I worked with a lot of business owners who were driven online because of the pandemic. So now they're not able to open their doors. So they had to be virtual. So there was a learning curve there and an education period. And I find, though, that things have changed a lot in the mentality and the understanding of what their perception was prior to the pandemic versus now 2 years later. So I do see that there's been some positive changes, and I expect that that's going to continue to be even more so going forward, as this is now the norm.
And as you head into the new year, some great advice for anybody is taking those administrative tasks that are bogging you down and pushing it over to someone who enjoys that kind of work so you can focus on revenue producing activities. Nickie, I appreciate your time on the show tonight. I want to give your website again for those who are interested in learning more. It is CSEVirtuals.com, CSEVirtuals.com. Stick around. This is Create, Build, and Manage Daily.